Hello there, my name is Arahad from MMOLegion.com. Are you a famous MMO YouTuber who never gave this game a fair try, having mere 96 mastery points unlocked, who just can't stop ranting about this game and how it's time for Guild Wars 3 because you didn't actually explore any of the game's real aspects? Are you one of those who saw videos on YouTube praising Guild Wars 2 and how it's the best MMO ever made, yet when you started playing it yourself you just felt, meh, maybe this game isn't that good? Well, you're wrong. In this video, I'll explain why the issue. It's not in the game itself, but it's on you. Yes, you. Well, I don't mean you specifically, I mean the huge number of newcomers who approach the game very wrongly. Guild Wars 2 is an MMORPG that's been holding its own pretty well in the MMO landscape for over 11 years, although many of its players, including myself, believe that it's still underrated and deserves way more recognition. Despite competing with giants like old-school RuneScape and World of Warcraft, which boast significantly larger player bases, Guild Wars 2 shines with superior graphics, more engaging combat mechanics, more detailed character customization options, and a notably more welcoming community. So, what's holding it back? Why aren't more players coming to this game? In this video, we'll explain some of the most common mistakes many newcomers make when they start on their journey in Guild Wars 2, and how these mistakes make them just give up on this game. Let me start off by emphasizing that Guild Wars 2 isn't your standard theme park MMORPG. It has countless unique aspects that set it apart from your standard MMOs, but this also serves as a double-edged sword. Players transitioning from renowned MMOs like World of Warcraft often find themselves lost in its unfamiliar waters. They start playing expecting a similar experience to their previous MMOs, like WoW or Final Fantasy XIV. They approach Guild Wars 2 with preconceived notions, expecting the usual theme park style MMO. But this is where this becomes a huge mistake. Guild Wars 2 is an MMO that should be approached differently. Don't expect any of the other MMO's aspects to carry on to it. I'm not saying to hinder your expectations or anything like that, because I can guarantee you that it has many more features and unique aspects than most of the MMOs in the market, especially the big three MMOs. I'm saying that you should approach Guild Wars 2 like it's your first time playing an MMO. That's why players who started playing Guild Wars 2 as their first MMO tend to stick with it, while other MMO refugees mostly don't. For example, let's talk about what sets the new player experience in Guild Wars 2 apart from others. In most MMORPGs, you start by creating a character, picking a race, class, etc., and then you're off to find the nearest quest giver to start leveling up by the usual boring, repetitive questing experience. Guild Wars 2 offers a slightly different new player approach. As you step into the world of Tyria, you're not funneled down a linear path. For instance, you can opt to level up solely through PvP from the very start. A structured PvP is accessible at level 1. Alternatively, you could focus on world events and exploration. However, the most common leveling route involves completing heart objectives. While heart objectives might resemble traditional quests in some aspects, they're fundamentally different in approach and execution. You're not killing 10 boars and collecting their asses. Instead, you might be rescuing a village from conquering centaur forces, or hunting for a colossal world boss, or even dancing for a cow to cheer it up. It's this variety that provides players with more freedom and choice in how they want to engage with the world. And the best part is, you're not forced to do any heart objective. You can choose what to do and leave others. You're not really forced to a linear path. Instead, you craft your path and your leveling style. I myself, for example, have leveled a character to 80 without killing a single mob, just by simply participating in PvP and world exploration. But it's not just the leveling system that sets Guild Wars 2 apart. The game's dynamic events are organic in-game occurrences, where players can join forces to tackle challenges. Think of a scene where you're doing your thing leveling up, and suddenly there's a colossal dragon flying above your head, burning a whole zone, or simple centaur attack on a village or a bandit raid on a supply caravan. These events scale based on the number of participants, ensuring it remains challenging and engaging, whether you're playing solo or with a group. And the best part about these events is that they really matter and really affect the world around you. That village you didn't save from a bandit raid? Well, it got conquered and its villagers got slaughtered, meaning that as a consequence, the NPC you sought after for a quest or to buy an item from is dead, and you now need to rescue and liberate that village. Another unique feature is the game's lack of traditional gear treadmill. In many MMOs, the chase for better and more powerful equipment can become the primary focus. But in Guild Wars 2, while gear is essential, it's not the main thing of the game's progression system. The game places a heavier emphasis on skill, strategy, and player collaboration. This means two players with vastly different gear levels can still enjoy content together without feeling the typical power creep found in other MMOs. It also means that your gear doesn't hinder your ability to join raid groups or PvP. Guild Wars 2 is undoubtedly one of the best MMOs in the market, but it needs to be approached as its own thing in order to enjoy it. If you're a new player who wants to play Guild Wars 2, but it's not clicking for you, just try to erase other previous MMOs from your memory. I'm kidding, but you get what I mean. Just approach it as your first MMO, and I can guarantee 99% that it will finally click for you and you will be able to enjoy it. It really requires an open-minded approach from newcomers. If you're willing to set aside preconceived notions from other MMO experiences and dive into what makes Guild Wars 2 unique, there's a rich, immersive world waiting for you. You see, a lot of the expectations new players bring to Guild Wars 2 stem from their experiences with traditional theme park MMOs. In those games, there's a very linear progression. You start in Zone A, complete a series of quests, move to Zone B, rinse and repeat. Along the way, you're bound to pick up more powerful gear, and the chase for that next shiny piece of equipment often becomes the driving force. It's a predictable and comfortable pattern for many. However, things are very different in Guild Wars 2, with its horizontal progression system. Basically means that once you've good enough gear, which is pretty easy to acquire, you are no longer required to grind for gear. So for a newcomer expecting the structured, gear-focused progression of other MMOs, Guild Wars 2 might seem disorienting at first. They might wonder, where's the next quest hub? Why am I not constantly getting better gear that makes my character stronger? How do I progress in this game? These are valid questions, but they're framed in the mindset of other MMOs, and you really shouldn't expect that in Guild Wars 2. There is also the fashion wars. While gear might not make your character stronger, it can certainly make it look better. Players hunt for the best equipment to make their character stand out. With countless optimizations, skins and dye choices, there's also more than 10,000 pieces of unique and distinct gear choices. Guild Wars 2 excels in character customization, leading to the so-called fashion war contests, where players rate other players' characters and fashion sense, with winners winning prizes and rewards. To sum up this video, I just want to say that the key to truly appreciating Guild Wars 2 is to approach it with a fresh perspective. It's not about rushing to the endgame or having the best gear, it's about immersing yourself in the world of Tyria, exploring the beautiful world and its rich lore, exploring the pretty fun jumping puzzles, and collaborating with other players in dynamic events. By understanding and embracing what makes Guild Wars 2 distinct, new players will find Guild Wars 2 to be one of the best, if not the best, MMORPG on the market. Oh, and by the way, just to clear things up, I'm not sponsored by ArenaNet in any way. I just love this game, and it pains me so much to see it so underrated. And it really pains me to see new players and some famous YouTubers never give this game a fair try. Please remember to take everything that's said in this video with a grain of salt, as it's just my humble opinion and it only represents my take on this subject. Now that we have finally reached the end of this video, or ranting, or whatever you want to call it, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments below. As always, be safe, keep your spirits high, and have a pleasant day.